This meeting is now in session. If you'd all rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Let's all bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we're just so grateful for this opportunity to not only serve the citizens of Heath, but also just to serve you. And we just pray that you would give us wisdom tonight as we go through this agenda and as we look forward to Easter. I just pray that we would just remember what you've done on the cross with conquering death and the propitiation of sins. And so, Father, we're just grateful for what you've done. And just bless our city and bless our staff and all these council members. Thank you, Jesus, for what you've done. In Jesus, your precious name we pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. God bless Texas.
All right. Very well. Thank you, Councilman. Moving into agenda item number 2. This is our public comment section. Mr. Alexander.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, we have with us tonight Mr. Rob Whittle.
Good evening. I'm Rob Whittle. I live at 460 Terry Lane. First, let me say as a citizen how heartwarming it is to see a city council that actually likes each other. It really does make me smile, and I'm just thrilled about that. I'm here as the fortunate taxpayer of 45 years paying taxes to Heath to thank you guys. You're fixing our roads throughout the city. I know our public works staff. I see Brian back there and Mike Shook and Fred. I know everybody's working tirelessly. Y'all don't get enough affirmation for all that you do. But to see so much of that work that just has been delayed year after year after year after year, to see you doing that is awesome. I know it's a pain in the neck at times. That's just part of it. And to our city manager and to our finance director and wherever y'all found the money, thank you. And I just want you to know I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rob. Very much appreciate the kind words. Mr. Alexander.
Mr. Mayor, we have Deanne Dawkins with us.
Ms. Deanne.
I'm Deanne Dawkins. I live at 149 Country Club. He took my thunder this evening. As a board member of the HOA for Buffalo Creek, I just want to thank you for fixing the roads through Buffalo Creek. It is so nice to drive through without dodging, potholes and things of that sort. So I just want to say thank you to the city and for y'all, just fixing those in the neighborhood. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I don't know what we did to deserve
So much great praise. Mr. Alexander, staff, great job. This feels nice. Thank you for being here. Mr. Alexander.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council members. We have a couple of comments to make this evening. We want to invite citizens to join the city in celebrating the groundbreaking of the Department of Public Safety Station 31 this Thursday at 2 p.m. For everybody's edification, the Station 31 will be located adjacent to the new Public Works facility, now under construction at 1284 FM 740 South. Look for the fire engine red balloons for the entry gate. We also want to announce the 2026 Heart of Heath 5K Family Run returns to Town Center Park bright and early on Easter Saturday, April 4th. Participants and guests will get a sneak peek of the new park amenities and improvements, plus enjoy a morning of fitness and fun. You can find the details on the registration link on the city's website. As a friendly reminder, we want to remind citizens that the city has updated the twice-a-week watering irrigation schedule to better manage water use, especially during the high-demand summer months. The adjustment is helping to distribute usage more evenly throughout the week. Citizens can find the new map on the city's website. Thank you, Mayor.
Very well. Thank you, Mr. Alexander. At this time, we're in agenda item number 3. Council, if you have anything or any comments that you'd like to make, the floor is open. None at this time.
Let me add to what Mr. Alexander said. First off, I have a number of thank yous. Having two citizens here tonight to speak is a big show and tell of the hard work that staff's been doing, and I can tell you, and I want to say it on the record, thank you guys for your hard work, because I do know how much tireless work goes into this place. I get to see it firsthand every single day through the phone calls and all the different things that you guys are doing, so thank you. I also want to say we're very excited about the groundbreaking. We'll never stop talking about how exciting it is to see 2 DPS stations versus 1. When that was bonded, there was a lot of conversations on how can we get this done into a future state build-out plan for 2 instead of just 1. So I'm very, very proud of the work that you guys are doing. I look forward to that groundbreaking tomorrow. Big 5K. Thank you to Suzanne. Holy cow, you guys do so much work with events, and I want to say thank you, and we look forward to that. Went out to the park today. They're very excited about trying to get those plants planted as quickly as possible and get that sod in and try to get it as beautified as possible. And this is our soft opening, and we'll have a big grand opening, but this is going to be a great event. So for anybody listening at home, we want to see you out there. It'll be a great time. We're going to have food trucks. We're going to have fun. So you don't even have to be running or walking in the 5K. You can just come out and enjoy it, and I think it's going to be a wonderful time. Also, had what a great pleasure to go out to the water well today. So I got a telephone call that we're doing some pressure testing, and Miss Suzanne met me out there. So those of you at home and others, I was able to do a little filming. Still pretty loud, so I don't know how well the audio came out, but I tasted the water out of the water well. Didn't even get through the chlorination process. I said, hey, is it clean enough to drink? They said, man, Mayor, it's great. So I said, okay. Is it hot? They said, well, it is hot, and, there's a cool down period. So anyways, I was able to go out there, and it really wasn't as hot as everybody said, and I got to drink right out of, I guess that water's coming from, we drilled down 3,400 feet, so I got to drink it, and I'm still here. Hopefully I'll be here through this meeting. But no, we're very proud, very excited. That was a big question of, for almost, it was a year and a half of lots of debates, lots of engineers, lots of collaboration, and a lot of different parties trying to figure out how do we solve the water problem. And this water bridge plan was exciting, but also nerve-wracking. As you start thinking about drilling down 3,000 feet, you're not really sure, are you going to hit water? If you hit water, are you going to get the flow rates? What's the quality of the water? And to be able to stand out there today and take a drink of water, to say, hey, I was the first person to really drink out of that, other than the driller said he tasted it first, thank goodness. So very exciting, and we're very proud of the work that Public Works has done, as well as the many different people on the well, as well as the engineers, and working hard on that solution, so thank you. All right, moving into agenda item number 4, this is our consent agenda. 4.A, action regarding the minutes of the March 10th, 2026 regular meeting. I believe everybody's had time to review the meeting minutes, so the chair will open the floor to entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion we accept the consent agenda.
Motion is stated by Councilman Omby. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Councilman Myers. The motion moves. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. And we have 2 absent this evening. Moving into agenda item number 5. These are items for individual consideration. 5.A, presentation, discussion, and acceptance of the annual comprehensive financial report for the period ending September 30th, 2025. Mr. Ayers.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This evening, we have John Watson from Brooks & Watson, a CPA firm that actually conducted the audit and completing our annual comprehensive financial report. Before I bring him up, I just want to give a special thanks to you all, Steve. He's been an integral part in helping us get across the finish line, as well as Tara Plexico, our Assistant Director of Finance. If you are not aware, she's going to be retiring here at the end of the month. She's been serving the city of Heath for 20 years now, and she's been an integral part of the team, and we really appreciate all the hard work that she's put into this. So whenever you see her, just, tell her thank her for her service, and, wish her best in her next step of in her career or, whatever she decides to do with a young.
Rest
city
and
of Heath.
relaxation.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, so. All right, John, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Jay. Mayor, Council, appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening. So my name is John Watson. I'm with the audit firm Brooks Watson & Company, your independent auditor. We audited the year ended September 30, 2025. In front of you, you all have the bound report, so that's the annual report. If you flip it open, there's a handout of these slides I'm going to go through, as well as a couple letters I'll touch on at the end. So with that, we'll get into it. Did you get, yeah? Oh, yeah, just flip it. Yep. There you go. So quick overview of the audit process. The audit was conducted consistently with U.S. GAGAS. That's generally accepted government auditing standards. And that part of those standards is a three-phased approach. Planning is where we look at the current year results, we compare them to prior year, compare them to our expectations. We try to focus our testing on areas we find most susceptible to risk of error or fraud. And that's the fieldwork stage where we test those results. So we agree balances to underlying reports from the city. We draw samples, test those samples by vouching it to underlying evidence, and send confirmations to third parties. Where there are differences, we determine as to why, and we propose audit adjustments, and that's really the conclusion and reporting phase. So we accumulate our results, we help prepare the report you have in front of you, and prepare the letters we'll touch on at the end. So that's really kind of high and low of what an audit is in this case. Overview of the report itself, the annual comprehensive financial report. There's 7 sections to it. The first section is the introductory section, so it has a good layout of the city, has a letter of transmittal from management, describes what happened in the current year and forward-looking information about where the city's headed. Audit opinion follows that. That's a letter from us, your independent auditor, describes whether the financial statements are consistent with U.S. GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles, or if there are any modifications. We'll look at that on the next slide. Management's discussion and analysis follows that. So that shows current year results, compares to prior year, goes over significant changes year over year. Great place to look to get a quick snapshot of what's going on with the city from a financial level. Okay? Basic financials follow that. Those are presented on 2 different bases of accounting. We've got your government-wide statements, which are full accrual, so it has all your long-term debt, capital asset activity, and then your fund level statements, which for the governmental side is modified accrual, more of a near-term look at cash inflows, outflows. Okay? Toward the back of your report, we've got your budget to actual schedules. We'll take a look at your general fund budget to actual. We've got your pension schedules, which is a 10-year look, so we can see how the pension has been funded over the 10 years of activity. Very back of your report, we've got your statistical section, a lot of 10-year trend data, so just a lot of really good information to look at to get a really deeper and more thorough understanding about the city from a financial and a little bit of operating as well. Okay, so I mentioned the report, the audit report. There's 4 types of audit reports you could receive, and those are listed here, color-coded, green being the best, unmodified down to adverse. We're happy to say today we're going to offer an unmodified opinion, so that's the highest level of assurance the CPA can provide. It basically means we're not aware of any material errors or inaccuracies within that report. So happy to be here, thanks to Jay, Stephen, Tara, who we've worked with for years, so I echo what Jay said. Got a chance to see her today. She's done a great job for the city over the years, and we're grateful for her work, and Jay's and Stephen's as well. So good team, really works with us, very responsive, and there's always, every year kind of presents different challenges. Sometimes new software and other things present challenges, and just happy to work with them through that. Last bullet I want to share is the city did receive the GFOA's Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. So that is not something that every city receives. That's a voluntary item that the city applies for and actually pays to apply for and have their report reviewed by special reviewers that are associated with the GFOA CPAs across the nation. We actually serve, several at our firm serve on this special review committee. But you got to go above and beyond. There's certain additional transparency and information that's required. So really, it's a good thing. So share that as well. Okay, so with that, we'll get into the numbers. Got quite a bit of information and hopefully a short bit of time for you. Some financial highlights. Keep in mind this is September 30, 25. So assets exceeded total liabilities by about $111,132,000. City had an overall increase in your net position for the year of about $4.7 million. City's governmental funds reported a combined ending fund balance of $50,972,000, which was a decrease of about $5,164,000. We'll look at that in a little more detail on a slide to come. Unassigned fund balance within your general fund was about $5,677,000, which is about 58% of your annual general fund expenditures, so a little over 6 months worth of reserve there, okay? Okay, so this is a pie chart for your governmental activity revenues. Governmental activity revenues were $18,780,000 for the current year. Prior year, a little higher, $19,049,784. Largest components that make that up, property taxes make up 52% of that total, $9,810,000 approximately. Prior year, it was about $8,738,000. Sales taxes made up 10%, $1,849,000. Prior year, that was $1,633,000, so both increased. Grants and contributions, 6%, $1,171,000, decrease year over year. Prior year was about $3.9 million. Obviously, those are going to be hard to predict year over year. Charges for services were 6%, $1,125,000, really close to prior year, $1,340,000. Okay, so that was the governmental revenues. These are the governmental expenses by function. Total governmental expenses in the current year were $15,390,000. Prior year, it was $16,007,654, so a decrease year over year. Your largest functional expense areas, public safety makes up 39%, about $5,975,000. Prior year, that was about $5,314,000. General government makes up 14%, $2,204,000. Prior year, it was $3,036,000. Public works made up 28%, $4,354,000. Prior year, it was $4,324,000, so really close year over year. Okay, so I mentioned that decrease in governmental funds, and we'll take a look at that. This is that driver here to give you a little better look at it. So I mentioned two different bases of counting. That information before was full accrual, government-wide. This is a more granular look by fund on your governmental funds, okay? So we've got your general fund on the left, we've got a debt service fund, capital projects fund, and then all your non-majors combined in that second to right, okay? Just circled in red the net change, so that's the revenues less expenditures. So we can see in the general fund operated at that surplus there of $489,425 on the left. So that goes into that reserve I mentioned earlier, around, I think it was 58% to that unassigned fund balance. So that contributes to that there. Debt service fund operating consistently with our expectations, small surplus there, $193,113. And capital projects funds was a deficit there of about almost $6.6 million. So that's where that decrease I mentioned comes from. So that fund in years of borrowing, when the bond funds flow in, that's going to be a large surplus. In years of spending, as we're doing all these capital improvements, some of which I think I've heard about tonight, as we spend those funds, that's where we see the spending in that capital projects fund. So again, everything's special revenue funds, surplus there, $723,000. Everything on that side really consistent with expectations. This is a budget to actual schedule. There's a citation at the top, page 96 and 97. Now, this is a summary. There's a lot of details there if you want to dig in deeper, but I'll try to give you the high points here. So your final budget is on the left. So that's your original budget plus all budget amendments passed during the year. And then your actual results are in the middle, and then variances between actual budget and actual on the right. So bottom left, after all budget amendments, you were budgeting a deficit of $204,761. If we just move directly to the right, actual came out at a positive surplus there, and I mentioned this number earlier, $489,425. So naturally, that's a positive variance of $694,186. So we just moved top right, revenues had a positive budget variance of $463,789. Sales taxes and property taxes were the main contributions there. Those exceeded budget expectations. Expenditures were below budget by $266,397. Parks was the biggest contributor there, a little over half of that, but there were several departments that were contributors there. So that's what led to that positive budget variance for the general fund. All right, so that's all information about the governmental side. On the statement of net position, statement of activities, kind of left-hand side. This is the right-hand side, which are your business-type activities or proprietary funds, your water and sewer fund and your solid waste fund. okay? So we call these business-type activities because they should operate like a business. They should have a profit because they're so capital-intensive, we needed extra funds to put into the infrastructure to run them. And that's what's happening here. So we can see our water and sewer fund net income here before transfers of $1,170,599. Also, your solid waste fund operating at a surplus there of close to $170,000. So both of these working consistently with our expectations. All right, just a couple more slides for you. Net pension liability, there's a 10-year look at it on page 98 and 99. Captured the last 4 years here. Most recent position is highlighted in yellow and also circled in red. It is, if I can read it, I think my eyes are getting worse and worse. 1,149,190. We'll call it 1.1 million, we'll call it. Anyway, that position relative to prior year, which was 1,567,000, that's an improvement year over year. Liability decreasing is a good thing. What does that mean? Is that good? Is that bad? A couple benchmarks for you. The funded ratio, which is a measure of the asset compared to the liability, was 94%. That is good. That's very good. It's well above average. Average is 83.1%, so you're more than 10 percentage points higher than average. You're higher than prior year, which was 91%. So great year. I just circled kind of the main contributor, which is net investment income. You earned $1.7 million on your assets. Your asset base started around $16.5 million. So you earned about 10% when we consider contribution. So it was a good year for the return on your assets there. And last bullet, and then I'll move on from the pension. Really, where do you feel it? You feel it in your budget. So TMRS is always prescribing new contribution rates to make sure you're well funded. So you're hovering around that 12% mark. And so the pension's pretty stable, and they're able to keep you around there because of how well funded that pension is. If it's ever poorly funded, expect that they would increase that rate, and that hits your budget. Those are percentages of payroll, which are always typically very significant for any city. So nice to be hopefully stable around there. All right, again, not much left for you. That's really everything number-wise, kind of conduct of the audit. There's 2 required letters, and that's what these are. First, we call the communication with those charged with governance. It's the longer of the 2 letters, which you all have. I'll just go over some high points of it. Audit was conducted in compliance with all ethics requirements regarding independence. We don't have any relationships with the city outside of this contract. It's all we do for the city of Heath. No difficulties were encountered in dealing with management. There's always challenges with every audit, but as far as their willingness to work with us and their responsiveness, I can't say there were difficulties, so appreciative of their efforts. City did adopt a new accounting pronouncement, GASB 101. This was applicable for this year, so it was required to adopt. Basically what it meant was the city would have to reevaluate accrued sick time. It's based on a projection of how much of that sick time employees would use, which is a little different than the past. So they adopted that. There is a restatement to adjust the prior year end so that we're apples to apples in comparison. We're using the same accounting treatment at prior year end as current year end. So when you see that, that's what that relates to. There's audit adjustments listed in the letter, so anytime auditor proposes adjustments, those should be communicated. Those are communicated with you through that. Okay, so that's the first letter, really the most important parts of that letter. Second letter, communication regarding internal controls. So naturally, we spend a lot of time with the city, review a lot of items with the city, a lot of processes, a lot of controls. I think we do a pretty thorough job. And naturally, we're going to identify things, and we put those items that we think are important enough within that letter. So that's what that letter is about. And with that, that's everything I wanted to share, and happy to address any questions y'all might have at this time. Thank you.
John, thank you.
Absolutely.
Council, do you have any questions? There are no questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Ayers?
Are there any more questions regarding the audit?
Council, do you have any questions for staff? There are none at this time.
Mr. Mayor, I would just add that in your internal control letter that you received from the auditor, you saw some internal control focus or areas of focus we need to place on internal controls, and so we'll be working on those to improve upon those in the upcoming fiscal year audit for 2026. If you have any questions on those, anytime, let us know. We're happy to talk through those with you. Some of those are process issues. Some of those are software issues that we have finally overcome with fully transitioning over to OpenGov. But overall, we're real happy with the current financial condition of the organization and the results of the financial audit. And we're seeking City Council's acceptance of this report this evening. You may have recalled in some of my reports to you that there is a deadline to get this complete by the end of this week. State law requires that these financial statements be accepted by the governing body by 180 days after the end of the fiscal year. We are essentially at that point. You may recall in years past, these financials were coming to you summertime. And so this is a good improvement from when they've been presented to you in the past, and in compliance with state law. The consequence of not complying with that state law at this point didn't used to be this way, but in the last legislative session there was a statute approved that cities that don't comply with the 180-day requirement cannot exceed the no new revenue rate for the setting the tax rate in the next upcoming year. So hence the importance by getting these financial statements to you, not to mention financial statements just need to be timely to the City Council anyways as a matter of practice. Another consequence we've noticed is that in some of the grant funding opportunities out there, if you don't have your financial statements done according to state law, you're not eligible for those grants. And so this is better timing than what has been in the past, and it does comply with state law. We hope to improve upon the timing of these financial statements in the future to get them to you sooner, to be more timely. But we are requesting your acceptance of the report this evening.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Alexander. I would concur. Great job getting it done in this timely manner. I would assume that we're going to be looking for even more efficiencies moving forward, looking at, end of year checks and balances, whether they be checklists, and looking at, I understand some of these adjustments for these journal entries. You guys had a lot to do with all kinds of encumbrances with software. So I will say thank you, and also I'm sorry. Because I tell you what, some of those reports that you guys were reporting and some of those issues that you guys were having to deal with is a lot. And anytime you transition software, there is a state of grace that needs to be given. But yeah, thank you, appreciate it. Council, any further questions for staff? Mr. Alexander or Mr. Ayers, any further items?
I think that's it.
Okay, very well.
Okay, so at this time, we are ready to take action on 5.a. So the chair will open the floor to entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move to accept the City of Heath Annual Comprehensive Financial Report for the fiscal year ending September 30, 2025.
Very well. We have a motion on the floor as stated by Councilman Omby. Do we have a second?
I will second it.
We have a second by Councilwoman Thorogood. There's no further discussion. The motion moves. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, council. Okay, at this time, we'll move into agenda 5.b. This is discussion and action on an ordinance authorizing the issuance of combination tax and revenue certificates of obligation series 2026. Mr. Ayers.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Originally, we were looking at having the ordinance ready for issuance of the 2026 certificates of obligation. We're asking that be tabled, mainly to give the Finance Board time to review and some of the features, as well as present their recommendations in regards to that issuance to you all. We do have Jim Sabonis here with Hilltop Securities. He's our financial advisor. So any questions that you have regarding the issuance, if I can answer them, he can answer those for you. Of course, the board met yesterday, March 23rd, 2026. It was item 4B on their agenda for discussion and consideration of the finance and structure of the proposed certificates of obligation series 2026, including size and structure and optional redemption features. Generally, this extensive discussion focused on the proposed plus or minus 40.5 million issuance, namely for all things Water Bridge Plan. The timing of when funds will be needed and an assessment of present-day rates in comparison to the initial previous meeting they had were discussed same. The board recommended to the council that the CO package be considered in 2 tranches to meet the immediate needs of the Water Bridge Plan and its respective obligations at present, namely the design, engineering, and installation for the proposed elevated and ground storage tank, where the design is 90% complete with an estimated value of over 14 million inclusive of installation. The completion of design and engineering for the next set of 3 wells estimated at roughly $1 million. This would allow time for visibility into potential grant supports. Funds estimated to be approximately $15 million from the Texas Water Development Board, reducing the aggregate consideration by roughly $16 million. It is also worth noting that the geopolitical risks, spiked interest rates, estimated value in excess of $600,000, but that on the board's review, the increase will be temporary and delaying the CO issuance from the April 14th go-to-market date could allow for rates to moderate. Further, upon receiving presentation from our CPA regarding the annual comprehensive financial report, it was determined that the current fund balance without obligation was in excess of 58%, which further represents an opportunity of funding generally discussed to be in excess of $2 million that could be used for respective obligations being considered. Lastly, the water rate schedule that went into effect October 2025, where rates increased 24%, should immediately be reduced to reflect commitments and obligations at present and not increase for coverage of future obligations if or until said obligations are made. And this is the recommendation that was made from the Finance Board in regards to this issue. So I just wanted to share that with you all. Any questions that you have, feel free to ask them, as well as if there's any questions that you need from Jim Sabonis, he's here to answer those as well.
Okay, very well. And so the recommendation is to table for 30, 60 days, give or take?
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I think that's right. I think we want to, we've got a little time here at this point. The projects that we've been talking to you about for the last several months, the 2 water tanks, the elevated storage tank and the ground storage tank, both of those are right at 90% design. And Brian can correct me please chime in if I say something that's incorrect.
No, you're right.
Okay.
The 90% review on the GST hasn't been done, but it's imminent.
Right. The water wells, the 3 water wells, wells 2 through 4, they're at 60% design. And we anticipate all of these projects to be ready for bid, during the summertime. Now, there's some timing discussion going on internally with regards to the water wells as to do you bundle them all together? Do you separate a couple of them out and do them separately? So internally, we're still working through some of the logistics behind that. But given the Finance Board's recommendation, the geopolitical issues that they brought up, that we're facing right now, perhaps, and the fact that we've got some time, we'll be ready to bid in the summertime, but it's a big bond issue, and we want to make sure everybody's concerns and questions are answered. So we would recommend, at least a 30-day pause. If you want to do 60, Jim Sabonis is here to speak to you about any ramifications related to delaying or postponing to a future meeting. If you have any of those questions, we don't think a 60-day, a 30-day, or a 60-day pause will cause you to have to reissue notice or anything like that. It just postpones the action that you were going to take this evening to that future date that you decide to postpone to. Anyways, happy to answer any questions about that.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Alexander. Council, I'll go ahead and open up the floor for discussion and questions with staff.
It does make sense to me to delay 60 days, I think. I mean, I'm not a fortune teller, right? But summertime sounds like a better time.
Okay. Any other discussion? The one thing that I would say, if there's no other discussion on that item, is you know, I don't know that I would concur on 60 days. I don't know that 30 days makes a difference. You know, I can see a need for 30-day pause. You know, we brought in this board. This is a new board that this council's brought in through ordinance, and we've got some talented individuals, and so we very much respect their insights and want to observe that. In fact, I'd make the recommendation that we consider a joint session with this board. But I will also state for the record, I do not concur with some of their assessments. I do understand the geopolitical environment. I understand, you know, when you're at war and how bond markets react. You may have, what are we looking at, 20 basis points? You know, we're talking about $600,000 over 20 years, $30,000 a year. I'm doing some rough math. And so maybe there's some of that shifting. But again, we're not predictors of the market, so we need to be mindful of that. We also need to be mindful as the elected body that I can tell you as I was elected, I was predominantly elected to fix the water problem. You know, how you do it is always a big question. I remember the first time we talked about water wells, and there was big speculation on, are we even going to hit water? You know, what a risk. And today, we're able to see that we hit water, high pressure, and we're still speculating that we're going to have 700,000 to 1 million gallons a day that's going to be coming out of a brand new resource for the city that is monumental and really a legacy for the direction we're headed. I also know that when we get things shovel ready, so the elevated storage tank, just for example, as I speak to residents, and I know all of you do, our southern corridor does suffer with weak pressure. This raised elevated storage tank has been planned and been on the books for a very long time and not addressed. And so, you know, seeing as though it's at 90%, do you want to have to go and tell the residents, hey, we're here to fix the storage problem, to where we know that we have a vulnerability and we could be bringing on 1.5 million gallons of additional storage, and also we can address the fact that you have to run around in circles in your own shower. And so I want us to be mindful of when we make decisions, we're making decisions on behalf of the residents. The other thing that I would say is that the ground storage being at 90%, it's 3 million gallons of storage. So dramatic amount. In fact, between these two, you will be doubling your storage capacity as we currently sit today. And so as we look back at this last summer, we applaud ourselves as elected officials, as staff. We applaud ourselves and we say, hey, we stayed out of stage 2 restrictions, which made for a pretty nice summer. But we also had a very light summer in comparison to the heat waves and in comparison to we had a very rainy year. So we have to be mindful of how often did we go and really tiptoe close to stage 2 restrictions. Well, I know on July 23rd, roughly, we were there. We were at 6 million gallons. Luckily, right after that, we were able to get an additional 500,000 gallons from Rockwall. That's a narrow gap, where on our average daily use is 2 million gallons a day until you hit those summer months, and then you're peaking at 5, 5.5, 5.8, 6 million. And this next summer, we're going to have to pray for a lot of rain, and we're going to have to pray that, you know, we don't have massive drought and high heats, because you're going to be playing in that 6 million range, and we just don't know how long. Because you also have to remember that we were doing, even to my chagrin, we were doing overnight monitors that were ticketing people, trying to find people that are watering overnight to get around the ordinance for watering restrictions. We ticketed hundreds of people, fined them. So I just, let's not get too focused on trying to save $30,000 a year when we were all elected to solve a major problem. And it's a major problem that faces us into the future. And I think that the bridge plan, we've worked very diligently to figure this out. And then we brought in a great group of financial advisors to bring in secondary insights. But let's also make sure that as we evaluate their financial side of things, that we also remember the problems that we're trying to solve. So just wanted to kind of give a little bit of thought there. As you are at 60% on well 2 and 3, those 2 wells would potentially be at behind the Fulton School, where you already have a tank. You've just shown success in drilling. Took you 4 months. That would be a little bit different because there's not the electrical issues on having to bring in the secondary electrical that we're having to do. So there's a little bit of lag on this town center park well. And then the second would be debatable on if it's at Governor's or if it's at next to Shenanigans, right, where your take point is. So let's just be mindful of those things. I don't disagree, right? I want good dialogue as far as my own personal wants and trying to understand their way of thinking. But I also want us as an elected body to be mindful of the problem that we're trying to solve. And we're trying to solve it in a shorter amount of time because it is imminent that we don't know if we pick up the 500,000 gallons again this next summer, if that new 1 million gallons that we just received from Rockwall, if now all of a sudden that our capacity and our usage continues to go up, and then we have to continue to regulate, and we have to do overnight fining, and et cetera, et cetera. So let's just be mindful of those things, because I believe I heard the recommendation is, hey, really, you probably just only want to bond $15 million and do an elevated storage tank. I don't believe that solves the ultimate problem in the short time. So with that, I yield the floor. Are there any other discussions or questions or topics?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I would say that we tasked them to figure out the financial piece, and we're tasked to figure out the water piece. And so I think a workshop or a joint session would be very valuable. And so to that end, I would be in favor of tabling this, but I don't know that we need 60 days because I want to know their explanation for things like that, because you can't finish until you start. And we've made some progress on the supply side of the water, but we haven't really gotten anything fully moving on the storage side. And I think that elevated storage for a number of reasons, fire safety, as we're working on fire flow in that part of the town, water pressure for showers, and storage in general. Again, it will move the needle, so you can't finish until you start. So, I don't have a problem with tabling this so that we can get some more information about why they think the way they think and understanding the path and having them the opportunity to hear where we are as well as a body.
Yeah, very good.
So that's sort of where I sit.
Okay, very good.
I would second that.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, so it's actually, the recommendation is April 14th, so it's 21 days. But I always like to just take your time, and especially if there's not any big pressure or big rush, it's always best to make sure you're making the right decision. So we got 21 days here, and so I'm all for that recommendation.
Very good.
I'm just gonna piggyback on what Mitch said. I think we need, and what Ryan said, we got 21 days, and we're looking at 90% storage. Is there any date projected that they're gonna be finished with the engineering of the elevated storage, Brian? Are they just saying, no, we're just at 90% right now?
Perfect.
Mr. Creed, if you could take
Take the lectern.
Yeah.
And Jim, I'm gonna have you speak. Just let's get this question answered real quick.
Mayor, council
Jim, if
members.
you'd give us 1 sec, bud. We're gonna have Mr. Creed answer this
Is
question.
there any projected date, Brian, that they told you that, hey, we should be done with this, or no, we're just at 90% right now?
No,
We're
so-
almost done?
Yes, sir. So at 90%, we're going to submit TCQ for approval. That's probably going to take a couple of months.
Okay.
So we're probably looking at June or July, and those will be fully vetted, yep.
Okay. So we wouldn't, it's not gonna be a deficit really for us to put this off. I wouldn't put it off any more than what we're suggesting now.
Sure.
Yeah, that's right, and I think the water wells are planned to at least start, at least one of the water wells. All of them are at the same place as far as design, but some of those timelines we're talking about, one of them shows one of those wells being bid in August, okay? So, but that doesn't mean we can't pull that back. The other one's forward, you know, and do them sooner. But, so yeah, to your point, July and August are kind of the earliest timeframe we're gonna be bidding these projects.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Sabonis, if you'd like to take the lectern.
For the record, Jim Sabonis with Hilltop Securities, Mayor, council members, citizens, financial advisor to the city. Two things I want to point out. One is this has been a very long, intensive process. I think we've worked on this program, working with Jay and when Steve joined the city for a number of years, but intensified in October. You actually started the process, the legal process, where in October you did you did a reimbursement resolution to allow you to spend some funds and to start moving forward the project. And then that was followed by a notice of intent resolution. The notice of intent resolution is very specific state statute allowing a city to issue debt. It indicates that we give notice a maximum amount of money that we're going to fund and the list of items that we want to fund with it that are within the legal statutes that city can fund debt for. And then what it says is the date specific, and it was the 23rd at 6:30 when we actually issued at this council meeting. Now, that notice was originally given for today. As we went through this process and we were working through our rating process, we were told by S&P, due to the volume of work, which was immense because of what's taking place in the markets, they couldn't process our rating quickly enough. So tonight we were here, if all those things being equal, we would just move one more council meeting down the road. I will say that you should be very proud. The city was confirmed with a AA+ rating, very positive rating. We spent an extensive amount of time talking to rating agencies about this rating process. And good and bad news. The good news, we understand why we're rated AA+, which is just one notch from the very highest. But I think that's where we're capped out because of the nature of our city. There's not one thing you as council or citizens or your staff could do to get to AAA. Basically, the issue is our size and that we're a bedroom community. We don't have an industrial base of employment here. But from demographics, from financial policies, from liquidity, from management practices, we score AAA across the board. But unfortunately, that's where we're capped out at. I know your staff will follow up more with you in that. So what I was going to say is that when you look at postponing it, a couple things to keep in mind, that we can postpone it, and it's commonly done. We've done it a lot this year as people try to understand markets of their projects. But it has to be done to pick a council meeting date and a time. So it would be hypothetically May XYZ at 6:30 when you have a regular council meeting date. And that's has to be done to keep the legal process intact and continuity in that process. And also, Jay and Steve asked me this afternoon, I talked to bond counsel early this year. He had one where they postponed it 3 times. You can do multiple postponements, and it has no impact on the market. We have our AA+ rating in hand. We have our offering document read. Once you made the decision to postpone, we will release it tomorrow, market it, and we'll just wait to the appropriate time we go forward. You can do more than one, though bond counsel says there's not any specific legislative limitation on how long you can delay for, but he is very comfortable that no action would have to be taken if we went up to 4 months. I'll say that this summer I had a client that we delayed 6 months, and the Attorney General asked us just to do another publication in the paper just to refresh people's memory. No action had to be taken by council, but they just did one more notice in the paper. But so the points I want to say is date and time specific, matching up a council meeting, up to 4 months, easy, and you can do multiples if you want to do it in increments. That's the point I wanted to make.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that clarity.
That was a big question that I had coming into today.
And spoke with Mr. Alexander on, once we do public notice, what's the timelines? If we have delays, are there additional fees? What have we already invested? All those questions. So, council, if you guys have any of those similar questions now, would be a great time. If there are none, you feel comfortable? All right, very well.
So the chair will open the floor to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to table the consideration of the ordinance authorizing the issuance of the City of Heath, Texas combination tax and limited surplus revenue certificates of obligation series 2026 until the date of April 14th, 2026 regular city council meeting.
Okay, very well. Before I ask for a second, Mr. Alexander, does that give us adequate amount of time to try to tee up a joint session?
Well, we haven't started working on scheduling of that yet, so hopefully so. It gives us 3 weeks. You know,
Sounds great.
I think it'll work. The only thing I would suggest is a time. I know you said regular city council meeting, which they are typically at 6:30, but I think, Jim, did you want a time in there?
That's what I was saying. Actually, the legal language actually indicates a date and time.
Very good.
Let me reread it or just?
Just add on the.
Also to include the time of 6:30 on April 14th.
Very well. We have a motion on the floor as stated. We didn't have a second, so you didn't have to amend that. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Councilman Myers. Do we have any further discussion? Going once? Just kidding. All right, the motion moves. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, council.
Big topic.
So very much appreciate the finance board, appreciate staff, appreciate Mr. Sabonis and all of his staff and all the hard work that's been worked on this tirelessly for a very long time, so thank you. As we are now moving into agenda item 5.c, this is presentation and discussion of the quarterly financial report and investment report for the period ending December 31st, 2025. Mr. Ayers.
All right. Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is your December 2025 monthly financial report. This will include a snapshot of our financial performance at the end of December 2025. Includes the general and utility fund, the fund balance, capital project summaries. Legal expenses not included in this presentation, but we will also touch on the quarterly investment performance and PFI compliance. Here we have the schedule of revenues and expenditures for the budget versus actual. This is unaudited at December 2025. This is the general fund financial performance. We did revamp this particular report for the general and utility fund. On the right side in gold is your prior fiscal year 2024-2025 performance. At this point in fiscal year 2026, your largest revenue sources are your property taxes and sales tax. Sales tax at this point in the fiscal year is $870,000, roughly 12.3% of the budget. In comparison to the prior year, we were at 13.4%. Sales tax revenue through this point in the fiscal year is at $464,000, roughly 25.3% of the budgeted revenues for sales tax revenue. And in comparison to the previous fiscal year, you have that at 26.2. If you look down at the bottom where it says total actual resources, year-to-date actual, we've collected roughly 1.9 million in revenue in the general fund. That's 15.5% of the total budget for this fiscal year. In comparison to last year, we were at 17.3%. If you look at the expenses, breaks the expenses down by category. You have salary and benefits, contract and professional services, rentals and leases, materials and supplies, and so on and so forth. Total expenses through this fiscal year is at $2.4 million. That's 19.4% of the budget. And if you look at the comparison to last year, is down in comparison to the previous fiscal year, where it was at 22.8%. Right now, we're currently at a deficit in the general fund of $270,000. This is a new, we added this sheet into your financial report. This gives you the projections for December 2025 for all of your revenues. The month actual as well as your year-to-date. We've also included on the far right side the previous fiscal year. If you look there, on the left, everything above 90% is in green. Anything between 75 to 90% is in yellow, and anything less than 75% is in red. The charges for services, a large part of that is your developer fee, plan review. As you all may recall, there were some changes in how we could charge for plan review. That's no longer, it's no longer accepted that we charge the 4% on the improvement value. At this point, what we've selected to do is actually keep track of the time associated with plan review, and the hourly rate set for that is $185 per hour. So through the fiscal year, we'll definitely monitor that. There may be some changes. It may come up short just because of the change there in how we are able to charge developers on plan review. This is a breakdown.
So Mr. Ayers, do we have things implemented right now to address the management of time, as we are now required to, by state law, to not put a value of 4% on top of the total value of the project? Now it comes down into cost valuation for time served. So do we have the mechanisms and/or the software to remedy that?
So it's not within our OpenGov new software system, but we do have a process in place. We've been working with both our community development department as well as our public works department to meet regularly to discuss how we're going to process time entry as it relates to the developments that are on the ground that we would be collecting these fees for. And so we do have that in process and right now moving forward.
Very well. So this is a simple spreadsheet per project.
Right now, that's what it is. Unfortunately, we're trying to work with OpenGov to see if they have those capabilities within their software. They've indicated right now that they do not have that capability. So right now, we're doing what we can to ensure that those hours are collected so that we can collect those revenues appropriately. And then we'll continue to fine tune and see what other options we have that are more efficient and effective for our staff.
Okay. And the previous way of assessing this fee with kind of a flat percentage fee of total value of project, is that a self-governing element, meaning that the developer themselves report what the value of that is? Is that the way that used to work?
Yeah, we would actually, they would provide value development, just like in years past on homes. They'd give value to the homes, and we would base building permit fees on value of homes.
Okay.
I don't want to get too far in the weeds, but over the last several legislative sessions, there's been state law introduced to stop the practice of cities charging a percentage of value on projects.
Right.
And so it started with residential building permits, and then it went to public infrastructure. And so now it has to be, public infrastructure has to be based on your actual costs.
Yeah.
And so that's the system we have to have in place to collect this revenue source.
Well, it's a hard seat to sit here as the elected body and try to come up with, ways to generate the necessary funds to run the city. But I do like the direction on this one line item to make sure that it's a cost. I know that it's a hardship that it creates, right, from a tracking standpoint, but I do think that it is in favor of, property owner being able to get some type of invoice and understand, what service I'm getting for X amount of time versus, hey, this is a $100 million project and you're just gonna charge me 4%. So just as a footnote, I kind of wanted to talk about that just so everybody's understanding what this line item entails. So, thank you.
Absolutely.
Please continue.
Oh, and another item that I want to talk about in regards to this particular chart, as well as the fines and forfeitures. I don't know if everyone's aware or everyone was on council during this time period when we brought in Linebarger. They're a third-party collection agency in regards to citations. We brought them in, I think, in 2024, roughly when I first got here. And the collections were high. As we've gotten into this fiscal year, we see the response now is not as high as it used to be when it first was implemented with Lineberger, but citations have increased, and we expect that to increase over the fiscal year as well.
Yeah, actually, I think citations are down.
Okay.
Number of citations.
Okay.
Is that right, Chief? Correct,
2025,
Okay.
26, they're back on track.
Okay.
So, say that again, so everybody's clear.
In 2025, the citations were down from the year prior, and in 2026, we're looking at it already for this year, and they're back to the normal of what they were.
Most of your citations are up right now.
For 2026. Our calendar year, I'm sorry, June, yeah, not the.
Got it. Two different elements there, so, okay. Thank you.
This is a breakdown of the general fund revenue. This is just a graphical breakdown of all of the revenues that we just discussed in the previous slide. As you can see, your property taxes and sales taxes, franchise taxes are above par. This is the breakdown of your sales tax revenue. The black line is the trend line. That's the projected for this fiscal year for sales tax revenue collections. Right now, we are trending above that line, so that's good news. This is your general fund expense analysis by department. All of your departments there are listed on the left. At the very bottom, you have your total expenditures. The budgeted right there is $12.5 million. We've expended 2.4. That's 19% in comparison to the previous fiscal year. We were at 23%. So we're tracking fairly well to be a quarter through the fiscal year. And this is just a breakdown here, just a chart, just representing that. This is your water and sewer utility fund. Again, we revamped that report just a little bit for the schedule of revenues and expenses. Right now, year to date, we're at $4.5 million. In the previous fiscal year, we were at 4.4. Last year, we were at 28.5%. This fiscal year, we're at 20.5%. Right now, total expenses is at $4 million. Last year, we were at $4.9 million. So expenses are down in comparison to the previous fiscal year. We're in excess of expenses by $450,000. This is the same breakdown that we had in the general fund. This is the projected. Again, same details here in regards to the signals that you see, the green, yellow, and red lights. Buffalo Creek Interceptor, there was a credit given just based on the true-up, the year-end true-up. So they had a credit beginning of this fiscal year, so that's why that number's down, but we'll see that increase as we progress through the fiscal year. Water impact fees, that's all based on development. Then we have special assessments, nothing collected there. But total month collections is at 1.2 million. Year to date for this fiscal year is at 4.7, and then your previous fiscal year was at 4.4. So there's new details we're adding in the financial report.
Great job.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of elements that we've talked about.
Yeah.
Over time.
Yeah.
It's great.
As I've mentioned in the past, Mayor, we want to make this report usable for you all as well as our public, and, make sure that we're able to communicate things clearly to you and help you be able to digest the information, and because I know that you all get a lot of information thrown at you.
Well, and financials tell a story, and the way that you present the financials can change the story line sometimes in a storyboard. So great job. Continue, please.
This is just the breakdown of the revenues in the utility fund. Of course, sewer water, city water charges are up, and the city sewer charges is up, as discussed in the previous slide. This is just a breakdown of the city water charges by month. In your financial report, it also includes the sewer charges. Right now, we're roughly in line with the trend line. We had a high collection month in November, roughly 1.2 million collected in November, and then it dipped down in December. So, and this is just a breakdown of the expenses in the utility fund. Again, we're at 19% of budgeted expenses. In comparison to last year, we were at 28%. So. And every department, not including the utility administration, which includes some staff that are split between the general and utility fund, that can be attributed to the increases granted to staff in salary. But as you can see, mostly every department is under last year in comparison. This is your fund balance summary. The general fund, unaudited, we had it at 5.8. Officially, after the audit, it's at 5.6. So fund balance at this point in the fiscal year is roughly 5.1 million. And then your water and sewer utility fund is at roughly 4.9 million. Those are your two biggest funds, operating funds. And then you have the general debt service under your reserve funds and your bonded capital projects. That includes all of your governmental capital projects, your fire station building fund, the drainage, parks, path, the water and sewer capital projects fund, and the 2023 CO fund. And that totals 50.9 million. Your general debt service at roughly 1.2 million, and your operating funds at 24.6 million.
Hey, go back to that slide real quick, please, and just real quick. And Mayor, Council, I know when people look at these numbers, they see these large balances. I mean, they're large. But I think just to recap real quick, and I know you know this, but just to recap real quick, the magnitude of the projects that you have actively underway right now. You have $15 million for 2 public safety buildings. You have funding for the Public Works building. You have funding for the Town Center Park. You have funding for a fire station and a ladder truck that have not been pulled out of these numbers yet. You have the Candlelight Project, Hubbard Drive, 5.5 million. You have the water well, 5.5 million. I mean, so you have significant amounts of sums of money that are going to be expended over the course of the next 12 months that will no longer be on this page when we get 12 months from now. And so while I understand people look at it and go, wow, that's a lot of money sitting there, it is getting applied to productive purposes for our community. And I think you heard even tonight some people seeing and our citizens observing that money going to work for them. Just wanted to point that out, just as kind of a reminder to everybody that may be listening.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Alexander.
Then you have your internal service funds. That's your general capital replacement and utility equipment replacement. Those total at 1.7 million. And then your special purpose funds, the Parkland Dedication, Tree Mitigation, Marshall's Happy Haven, Farmers Market, and Special Revenue Fund. They total 422,000. The total of all funds, we started out at 79.9 million. At this point in the fiscal year, is at 78.9 million. This is the summary of the investment report. The total in demand accounts in September 30, 2025 was at 5 million. Your investment pool were at 79.2 million for a total of 84.2 million. That's dwindled down a bit. In the first quarter of this fiscal year at 81.7 million. The average year yield for the quarter and average is at 3.88%. And you see below the rolling 3-month treasury, the 6-month treasury and text pool and Techstar. Those are some comparisons into our portfolio. So it's doing pretty good. It's in the middle there between the treasury and the investment pool. This is just a graphical
So,
break.
Mr. Ayers, before we move on, and I'm not going to piggyback on the finance board and some of those statements, but are there ways for more diversification in our investment strategy? Now, I'm going back to 2 years ago when we first sat down.
Yeah.
We started talking about this, and then we kind of had some series of meetings.
Yeah.
And then, and then now we have a finance board. They're looking at it. They're talking about it. So kind of going forward, what's some of those strategies, and what type of, as staff looks at it, do you agree with the finance board? Do you agree with some of their findings? And then what are our potential steps in maybe assisting in that course?
More specifically, I've been working with time value investments, just talking to different groups on how we could diversify our investment portfolio. Good resource as well that is on the finance board is Don Barrows. He's also been in contact with me as far as just getting in contact with Hilltop Securities. He's familiar with them, and he really believes in them. So those are the entities that we're going to probably reach out to help us transition and diversify this portfolio a lot better than what it is. Right?
So we will be bringing forward a recommendation to engage a financial advisor that will help us ladder out securities as part of our overall portfolio, keeping in mind that it'll be government securities, agency notes, T-bills, maybe CDs at banks, things of that nature, things that comply with the Texas Public Funds Investment Act and things that we understand, and so that will help diversify our portfolio and also help take advantage of the interest rates today for longer periods of time as we anticipate interest rates to continue to decline.
Very good. I look forward to that. That's great. And I think those were some great recommendations from the finance board as well. So thank you for working on that. Please continue.
Matter of fact, Mayor, that was one of the conversations, part of the conversation we had last night with the finance board. That was one of the topics of discussion.
Very good.
And this is just the investment holdings. At this point, American National Bank, we had 4.45 million in American National Bank at a yield of 0.01%. The text pool was at 3.98% with 20.8 million. And then we had Techstar at 56.4 million at 4.01% yield. That total there. The average yield between those is 3.88%, and then that's just a graphical breakdown between the previous quarter and the current quarter. So had roughly 5% in demand accounts in comparison to the previous quarter at 6%, and then the investment pools are at this point is at 95% in comparison to 94% in the previous quarter. Okay. And that's the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, I'm open to them. So.
Yeah, thank you again. I can't say thanks enough. I mean, this is great reporting. I will tell this council, I know Councilman Dodson and Councilman Mormon, when we first got here, this type of reporting was not our standard, and I've sat through many council meetings, and it was not the standard previous. So we are headed in the right direction. Our finances and our investments and all of the above, and showing that level of transparency to the community is great. So thank you. Very well. At this time, council, do you have any questions for staff?
Just to comment, Mr. Mayor, I really do appreciate the granular nature of this, and the breakdown is very digestible as your goal was stated, so very good. Thank you so much.
And again, we're always open to ideas, right? We can be coached. And so if there are suggestions that council has, or anyone for that matter, we're happy to try to incorporate those things. And as a side note, we are working on the timeliness of this report and trying to get it to you sooner. So we're right now, just so you know, we're running about 6 weeks behind on reports. And so we'll get that caught up and be more timely in the future on these.
So council, you heard it right there from the CEO that said, any great ideas, they're ready to implement it. So we look forward to our CIP planning strategically over 10 years, getting Gantt chart updates every month and or every quarter. Any other ideas? Okay, very well, we'll stop there. All right, very good. No, I am very proud of you guys. Thank you, guys. It's really good. This is great work, so I appreciate it. Council, any further questions for staff? All right, very well. If there's no further questions on this line item, there are no actions to be taken. We'll move into agenda item 5.d, discussion and update on current capital projects to include but not limited to the Hubbard Drive project, AKA the never-ending road, the Water Bridge Plan, Meadowview Culvert Project, Town Center Park Project, Terry Lane Road Rehabilitation, Terry Lane Trail Project. I look forward to that part. Candlelight Fire Flow, very excited to see that coming into fruition, and Public Works Facility and the Street Maintenance Program. Mr. Creed.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and Council. As you stated, this is an update of all those things that we see somewhat often up here. The first portion is obviously Hubbard Drive. I've talked about all these things. It was awarded to Apple Pavement. They are on site. They've been working. They have already done the bypass, as you see in these pictures, and you can see the elevation change in that far right picture of where they're actually working on where the new elevation is going to be of the Hubbard Drive when they get done. It's that giant hole they have there. Currently, we're still working on some utility relocates. We have to drop a 16-inch water line, and we found some 1-inch water crossings we weren't aware of. So we got to move those down as well. So that is where the project sits right now. They are looking at also moving up on some of the water crossings on forward, because we believe that there's those same bores, those shallow 1-inch bores. We're going to try to get ahead of that. The project is moving forward. If there's any questions on Hubbard, I'll be happy to entertain them. We can wait till the end, whatever you want to do.
All right, very good. Are there any questions on Hubbard Drive? The only question that I have is timeline, because we don't have I know that you guys have a Gantt chart in your office, so I'm very proud to see that, by the way. So on that project, are we on target? Where are we believing that, because whenever I hear hurdles of utility, water lines, et cetera, are we hitting our milestones per your Gantt charts and your strategy, and where are we still speculating the end date might be?
So the contract is scheduled to end in December. However, if everything went perfectly originally, they would intended to be done by August. We have hit some of these delays and things like that, so I would tentatively add 3 or 4 weeks to that. However, I want to restate, the contract does end in December.
I appreciate that.
Quick question. Has Apple done any of the other phases?
Have Apple done any? No, they were not awarded in the previous phases. Okay. The previous phases were awarded by the developer. That was a partnership between the city and they chose the contractor, and I believe it's called Garcia Construction or something like that, who did those phases. I'm sorry? Garrett.
I have a question. Previously, it was discussed if there were the funds for it to add some decorative elements to Hubbard Drive.
Yes.
Are we on budget to do that?
So we'll have to bring that back for a budgetary change, but we have spoke to the engineers about bringing us some ideas about some landscaping, maybe some planters, or even some lighting, some kind of banners on it or something like that. We do not have that scope in hand yet, but we are in communication with them about that. Would be more on this end, the intersection, the entrance.
Yes. Great.
We are.
Okay.
Councilmember Thurgood, there are funds available in the budget for that once we get the scope figured out on that.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Gotta love those change orders, that scope creep, all those things. I assume that that's gonna be in a small town center overlay district area that we're referencing.
It's right at this intersection. Yes, sir.
Very well, okay. All right, very good, great question.
Okay.
Any other questions on Hubbard Drive? Okay, and then the other question that I would have is that, asking, are we seeing any or hearing any major concerns or feedback from any of the residents?
Just the normal challenges of, can y'all regrade the rock or, watch this drainage area? But we try to be as responsive as we can, and we hope we're fulfilling that.
Okay, all right,
But nothing major, no, sir.
all right, very well. I think everybody's on pins and needles, ready to see it done.
I think they
Okay.
are ready to see it done, yes,
All right,
sir.
very good. We'll move into the water bridge plan.
Okay, the next one is the water bridge plan, and some of this has been discussed tonight. Certainly, the star of the show, the water bridge plan right now, is the Town Center Park well number 1. I spent a lot of time out there today, and the mayor went out there, and I'll reiterate what he said. Everything seems to be extremely positive about this well. The drillers are impressed with the flow and the quality. So we'll see what the lab says, but I don't anticipate any issues whatsoever. The mayor's still with us, and he drank it, so I'm going to use that as a.
They told me they haven't lab tested it after I took a drink. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I'd be happy to answer any questions about that. I stayed up there and we talked about the 36-hour pump test that's underway currently, and we can get into some of the particulars and the technicals of it. However, what I would state is very strong well.
So is that
Go ahead.
Is that a preliminary guess? This is a successful well? Can we plant our flag on this being a success?
When we asked for this to be designed and put in the hole, we wanted to seek around 700 gallons per minute of capacity to be added. The engineers determined that, obviously the aquifer is, 3,400 feet deep, to get into it. I think our pilot hole our casing sits at like 3,250 and just screened down in that area. They set the pump about 1,260 feet. And so they believe that's the design to give us the goal, which was 700 gallons per minute, or about just a tick over 1 million gallons per day. And currently it is on track to meet that goal.
I would say it's a success.
You're planting your flag.
I would say it's preliminary success, absolutely.
It's very,
When that
very
36-hour,
exciting.
when that 36-hour pump test is done, can we get some notification?
Certainly, it'll be done at 7 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. And that will be the end of it, barring any issues with generator, because it has to run 36 hours consecutively. If something happens to the generator or something like that, they have to start all over after a rest period. And there is a 12-hour rest period that has to be added to the report after, so technically the test won't be done until 7 o'clock tomorrow night. However, the pumping will end at 7 a.m. in the morning. They're going to spend the last 12 hours of this test letting it pump as hard as it wants to pump. When they turned it on, they saw numbers up near 900 gallons per minute originally, and so they've throttled it back, trying to demonstrate head pressure and what that looks like on the actual drawdown of the casing at about 700 gallons per minute.
Yeah, the pump's at 1,200 feet, but the water is actually at 600.
So the water originally came up to about 620 feet, or 608 feet.
It's unbelievable.
And as you run that well, that pumping level drops. We're about 900 now below, but they anticipate after 36 hours, we're going to be able to run it the entire time and not get down to the pump level. And what that is you're going to verify the design that 1,260 feet is sufficient to be able to move 700 gallons per minute for a 24-hour period.
So if you got a straw that goes down 3,200 feet and you've got water sitting at 600 feet, that tells you that's a success.
It's a very well flowing formation. Yes.
So it was actually really much appreciated that the drillers were out there telling me all kinds of experiences, and I would say they were planting their flag. So I just took it from them and said, man, this is exciting. Very good.
As soon as we have test results, we'll get those out to council.
All right, Meadowview Culvert. Well, water bridge plan, so you've got a few other items. I'm
Yep,
sorry. Go ahead.
we've discussed this a little bit, wells 2 through 4. The design is still underway. We are at 60% on this, and I think we even have an updated OPCC that came in today. And I don't think there's any significant changes to this. I mean, I think it was 22 million for.
Right, so that's right, Brian, good point. So the probable cost estimates that I received today from Kimley Horn are suggesting that and this includes a 10% contingency, but suggesting the 3 wells are gonna cost around 22 million, which is a little, excuse me, a little higher than we had originally anticipated. Remember, this one's 5.5 million.
Yeah.
You know, the engineer, Kenny Fries, who I'm talking to, he believes that 10% contingency will come down as they get closer to full design and have better feel.
They're just estimating on worst-case scenarios.
They are.
There's obviously, yes, sir, there are some.
And we do believe that we'll get economy of scale. In fact, we've been told that, so, very much.
That is so. The next item is the City of Heath at 1.5 elevated storage. We talked about that earlier. The 90% plan review is expected to be completed. I will note that y'all asked me about this going out to bid. It technically could go out in May if we wanted to do that. I don't know if that affects anything like that, but we're going to be at TCQ's mercy on review on this. So I don't know when they're going to get that back to us, but I just wanted to clarify that. If that was a will of this council to move forward, which I think originally it was, we could probably get this out earlier.
Yeah, and for timing, Mr. Alexander, going through the bond process takes time as well. So what is the timing that would look like?
So once council approves the issuance of the COs, it'll take 30 days to get the funding.
Okay, so there's a 30-day window. He's got a TCEQ window, a couple months, not
Yes.
sure. Right, got it.
Yeah, so we're not
just wanna
sure
make sure,
exactly.
as we think about alignment, right? Those
Okay.
are some of the elements. And then also, too, going out to bid without necessarily securing all those additional funds wouldn't be ideal, right?
Yeah, typically, when you go out for bid, you want to have funding in the bank to do the project. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Very good, thank you.
All right, and the 3 million gallon storage tank, as stated, we're at 60% plan review on this one. We have not accomplished the 90% yet. This one is slated to come in later it says May of 2026 originally there, but that's going to be pushed out to July, August, September, if that's so the council desires to move forward with this project. Those numbers, that slide is wrong. That should be different years on the end dates. I apologize for that.
Yeah, so if you, for clarification, so this project is not currently, it's being designed, it's at near 90% design, but this particular project is not in the $40 million bond issue.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it may be that over the next 21 days, as we meet with the finance board and then council takes a look at, projects you definitely want to go ahead and move forward on, that you could put this into that bond issue. One of the things that is in the bond issue right now, you may recall, is $3.5 million for the shared water tank with Rockwall and $350,000 for a restrictor vault. And it could be that as we talk this through, and I'm probably going to I'll try not to get too deep in the weeds, but it could be that you go ahead and cash finance the $350,000 restrictor vault, and then you wait to deal with the shared water tank at another time with Rockwall, and because that might even result in a different financing structure, and bring in this water tank, since it's shovel ready, it's going to be shovel ready, and keep this one in the bond issue instead. So there may just be a little bit of movement around of which projects you want to do over the next few weeks that could change the amount of that bond issue a little bit. It won't be above the 40 million, because that's what we've posted up to, but it could be some maneuvering going on there as we discuss this with council and with the finance board.
Very good, thank you,
So
Mr.
just to be
Alexander.
clear, this will not be ready for TCQ submittal until July, and then we could expect up to 2 months and end up in September-ish before, if the will is there to even bid this one out.
What's the timeline on building that? I would assume that's a faster process versus the elevated.
They got an estimated construction period on this one. Hang on just a second, we'll get it there. 275 days. They would, if we got a release to do it, a release in November, that would put you out to about November of 2027. Yeah.
Okay. And the elevated storage tank?
The elevated storage tank, I believe, was 400 days. Let me back up and find you that right quick. Make sure I'm telling you correct. 260 days. If they got a notice to proceed, I mean, it's approximately, I was at 10 months. Okay, and 260 days is not calendar days, it's work days, so it would actually be a year. Just short of it.
So just, I know everybody's good with math and calendars. These storage things that we're talking about today, when we talk about imminent and current need, every solution that we're talking about with storage, we're talking about 2028. So just, as you think about, the permits that are being done, the houses that were pre-platted plenty years before we ever sat here at the dais, we're talking about storage 2 years from now. Year and a half, okay? So, all right, very good.
Okay, well, y'all might have questions about the.
I got one question,
Yep.
not to really Brian, but
Okay.
Steve, has Rockwall, I know we talked about this in the water bridge plan, have they committed or saying when they're wanting to start the 3.5 million, or I know that was in talk before, but has anything changed is what I'm getting at?
Nothing has changed at this point. I don't have a
Okay.
date certain on that
Okay,
project.
because they were just like, well, we're gonna do it, we don't know when.
Right.
It was the
Right.
last time.
My last conversation I had was that they were doing some preliminary work on it, but that
Okay.
was sometime back in December. I
yeah.
think. Yeah.
And that's the 3 million
3.5.
or 3.5.
Yeah, that's right. It was shared with us. I guess I thought it was a 3.5 million.
So, yes, they were even they were contemplating even doing a bigger tank, but we would only share 3 million of, we would only have to half.
Okay.
3 million of the
So
tank.
we
If
have
they build a
1.5
5, we
million
get
to
half of
us.
3.
So we get 1.5 million.
So, but if they do a 3, we still get half of it, but if they do 5, we get half of 3, which, just say we get 1.5.
Got it, yeah, got it, 1.5. Okay.
All right, so moving on, the Meadowview Culvert, I don't think this is, I'll bring this one back after tonight. This is complete. The floodgates are up. We did have that big rain and washed away some of our sod, and you can see on the far right there, you can see where the Curlex has been laid down in the ditch line to try to control some of that water that's come down. They did add that. They've replaced all the sod. They put all the riprap back where it belongs. We had some quite large, you can see in that middle picture, kind of in the center of the photo, those large stones. We had some of those come down when that water overtopped everything. However, it's all been put back in place, and this road is open and completed.
Very good. I've been stopped by 2 different residents that are so appreciative, so thank you for making that happen faster than when the contract allowed them.
All right, the next item is Town Center Park. I don't know if y'all been paying attention out there, but we're laying sod. They're putting it down pretty hot and heavy. I think they still have over 20 trucks arriving in the next few days with more sod. All the fields are substantially graded and sodded, minus what we call Field C, which is where the well the well work is going on. We are turning some of that over to the parks folks, and they got started on some grading over there. I don't know, that entrance is no longer a viable entrance. You have to come in through the parking lot now, because they are digging out that detention pond and bringing that forward. I know that the Parks Department is putting up the fence, the outfield fence, and they're working on that.
Are they planning to be done with the dry creek that you're referencing right there, that detention pond, that dry creek there? Is that planned to be done by the 5K run?
So, no, that requires some hydro mulching.
Okay.
The grading is done, the sidewalks are done, but that requires a special buffalo grass hydro seeding that we can only do if the average temperature stays above 60 degrees.
Okay.
So that's pushing us out to be able to accomplish that. There's another common area we have to do it's on the other end down there that also requires hydro seeding that we'll have to wait. But all the grading is done, all the, what do you call it, retention dams have been installed. The hard work's done, it just needs cleanup and hydro seeding.
Okay. I want to go ahead and talk about the one item. I know that they're not doing the epoxy on the pickleball courts and the basketball court. Those won't be ready for the 5K.
They will not.
So when are the shade cells going in?
Shade sales should go up tomorrow.
Okay.
That's what I'm told.
Okay. Shoot us an email. We would love to see that.
Okay.
We've been waiting on that.
They did come out and fit test one yesterday.
Okay.
And took it back down, and informed us that they will be out tomorrow to install them.
Okay. All right, very good.
He did come out today and retorque the bolts holding the superstructure up.
Okay.
But that is tomorrow.
Very good. And basketball goals will be in?
They should be in before the 5K, yes, sir.
Okay.
That's
and
right.
then as far as any type of stanchions or something to keep people off the brand-new sod, what's the game plan there?
So I was just talking to Chelsea about that and Suzanne. I think we're just going to put out do not get on the grass, little bandit chloroplast stick-in signs around and hope for people follow the honor system and, stay off of it. I know you can't keep every single person off of it, but hopefully they don't overrun us. That is the plan.
Okay. Might need to get a roller after that. So I assume there's going to be a lot of them, a lot of signs.
As many as we need.
It's going to be a lot.
It is a lot. We were talking about that tonight, about how
Okay.
many do we need to get.
Okay.
And,
Hill and Wilkinson has been really kind, because there's certain things that people love to do at the 5K, and it's become the tug of war tradition. And they're like, just do it on a certain part, and we'll plan to replace that siding. So certain things we're trying to still make happen.
Okay. I saw some great mud pits.
That would be great. It'd be safer than on concrete.
Mr. Mayor, we'll meet internally on that a little bit more
Okay.
and see if there's something else we can do to try to keep people off that grass.
Okay. Yeah. Because ultimately, they can come from every direction. I mean, you have parking almost 50% of your perimeter. So
Yes.
allows for a lot of traversing. So, okay.
It does.
All right. Well, it's just a point of reference.
37.
That was a little quick.
That was quick.
That was a little fast and pretty awkward. Ladies and gentlemen at home, he's kidding. All right.
No, very good. All right, moving on.
All right, I just want real quick to include a picture. We did run the fountain and got a picture of that. That's what that's going to look like when we get it all. There's some landscaping that still goes around that, and actually, if you go out there to the pond today, you'll see that it's being kept a couple of feet down as we want to plant all those landscaping items around it. And once those are in place, we're going to raise that level back up and turn on the fountain.
Okay.
And keep that going. You can also see there, that's the stage, which I know you'll seen. But that is complete, except for we're going to go back and put a bigger plug in, and we're going to take care of that in the next few days, I think. The band folks have requested a 50 amp. We're going to go back and put that in there. And then I just like the Caterpillar, so I have to put a picture in. It was in the last one too. I acknowledge it, but I like it, so I put it in there.
I think it's great. And I can't see the mortar color, but it looks great.
It does look really good.
I think the mortar looks great.
Worth the effort.
Yes, very much worth the effort. So it's no longer pink.
Like I said, I'll be happy to answer any questions. Mostly what's going out there is a whole bunch of plants, landscaping, and sod.
Yep, keep it up. Great job. Any ETA on the baseball field fence?
So they're working on infield components, I believe this week, actually, starting tomorrow. So we've postponed just the outfield fence, the wiring and the mesh to allow them access to do that work. And then they'll be coming back next week and hope to be finished with the fence by April 1st.
Before the 5K?
Yes.
Okay. Did we get electrical run for that scoreboard?
So we have not, right now, we're evaluating options on that because of the ask for the electrical and where we have to pull that electrical from. We're looking at other options where we might not have to use electric in ground.
Oh, so some solar fence or solar?
Potentially solar and some other options that we're
Okay.
just now evaluating.
Councilman Omby and I will be on bikes.
Scoreboard going.
Exactly.
Keep the scoreboard going.
It's part of the wellness initiative there.
We're looking for more donors, but this is more of a volunteerism. All right, very good. Any questions on this part?
Very well, moving on.
Okay, the next item is Terry Lane reconstruction. I don't know how familiar you are with this, if you've been driven up and down through there. I know some of you probably have. The eastbound lane is substantially complete. That's why I would say substantially, because we did not do the very end near Smurl. We're contemplating having to do a new TCP for that. We really looked at this, and closing that lane all the way up right to the intersection seems like a bad idea, leaving overnight for a week. And so what we're wanting to do is put together a plan and finish the westbound lane all the way, just past Larry, all the way down, this side of Larry, this Smurl side of Larry, all the way down back to the park, and then do a TCP and do a detour and just shut the entire intersection, do it all at once, wipe it out in a week, and then open the entire road.
Okay.
That is what we would like to move forward doing.
Okay.
And I'd be happy to hear any feedback on that, but I think it's the best way to do that. I mean, I've struggled with seeing people turning off a Smurl in the wrong direction, or vice versa, in the middle of the night when there's no flaggers or no anything there, and it just doesn't seem safe.
Agreed. Very good.
And I'll be happy to answer any questions about Terry, but it's going great, so on schedule.
Very good. Moving into Terry Lane Trail.
The Terry Lane Trail. As y'all might know, this is the trail that runs along the north side of Terry Lane. We originally met with the residents and we discussed how we were going to do this. We requested to get a survey to get an idea of how much right-of-way we have and what it's going to take to put that trail in. We had to get a right of entries from those folks, and after some hard work, Tiffany hounded these people to no end and got all those things from them. We have all the right of entries. We've done all the surveys, and now we just got to compile the easement documents and get a design. But that is where it's at.
Very good. Timeline?
I think the timeline is going to be contingent on getting a design engineer. And I don't have that information at this time.
And part of getting the easements.
And getting the easements, yes.
But I think Mr. Leckie Commissioner Leckie has mentioned to you that the county is interested in having design work.
Correct. The county commissioner has requested design be provided to the county should we want to use county funds for this.
Okay. So again, estimated timeline?
I've
been talking about Terry Lane and Hubbard Drive trails for 2 years. I won't let it go. I'd be fine when I leave office if they call me the trail mayor. Give me an estimated time. Man, we've been talking about this for a long time.
I will coordinate with Mr. Alexander, and we will see if we can find a design engineer, and I will find out from Mr. Dormeyer where we are on the easement documents.
Okay.
But I think the easement documents may be contingent upon design, to be honest with you, because it's going to work. How far does easement go based on what the design engineer says.
Okay. I don't want to leave office and this still be a pending item.
Understood.
very much. Thank you.
Hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, you know.
It's an important project. It's an important project.
It is so important, you know, it's a safety concern on this road.
Yes, it is.
It is a major feature. We have such a beautiful park on the lake. We have one of them. And we need to be able to get to it through walking and biking.
Agreed.
And so that and Hubbard Drive. So maybe walk us backwards to Hubbard Drive. Not everybody's updated on the Hubbard Drive Trail, and we don't always talk about it when we talk about Hubbard Drive.
Sure.
So can you maybe give everybody a brief update? I know it's not in your
Sure.
packet.
No, we can discuss it through the Hubbard Drive project. So when the causeway was originally built, it was too narrow to put a trail across. Okay?
Which is
So-
the small bridge
The
as you
small
go back
bridge.
to
And
Antigua.
there were reasons the council did that. There was some coordination that had to be done with the Army Corps of Engineers. It was gonna push that timeline very far out on being able to get that road put back into service. And they chose to put back the exact same thing that was there, because that would negate the request for review. Does that make sense? So they didn't have to do the review, they could go ahead and build the road, and so that's what occurred. That has left a gap to bring that trail along Hubbard Drive to connect it. So, and there's the lake, Take Point runs all the way down, and actually some of this is underwater, but, behind, I think it's Heath Golf and Yacht, 14, phase 14 and 10. And I think, what is it, 15 on this side, and then the undeveloped portion in McCrummon, where it comes down on this side. We have requested an easement to make this V-shaped, to go around that portion of the, I wish I had something to show you, but it kind of comes down and makes a V and goes back up and bypasses the causeway. And so we made a request for easement already on the, I guess they would call that the southwest side. And so we need to do it on the south, or east side, well, southwest and east side as it V's back up, so I guess it's called southeast side, as it V's back up towards Hubbard. So currently we have reached out to TMP, who did the design of the original plan. They are putting together a scope for us to they've already got the concept drawn on there, but it needs to be surveyed, and then an easement document submitted to Dallas for that. We have not received that scope from TMP for those services. Currently, on the southeast side, on the southwest side, Dallas has reached back out to us and said they want to do an appraisal on the value of the portion of the southwest side, and we have to get that funded and done, and I got that today. So I will get it going.
Question with TMP, when was it requested for them to do the scope? I'm just trying to understand.
I would have to go back and look at my emails.
30 plus days ago.
It might have been, yes, sir.
Right. So if it was 30 plus days ago, how long do we need to wait for surveys?
They typically do happen pretty fast. The surveys can happen pretty fast. They're going to probably request right of entries from those properties prior. If they're all just development properties, they might go easier rather than 20 different property owners. But that would have to be done prior to the survey, and then design, or at least a conceptual design, could begin.
All right, well, they're going vertical on a number of those lots. I think 6 of them are going vertical right now, so I don't know if those have changed hands. So I think, time is of the essence to see TMP get going, right?
Yes, sir. We've made multiple requests even today.
Okay.
So we'll continue to do that.
All right, and then as far as reaching out to Dallas, who are we dealing with over in Dallas that now it's changed hands to request an appraisal on the southwest?
Off the top of my head, I can't remember the name. It's with their real estate department.
Okay.
It is no longer in their public works department, so it's a different individual. They do seem more receptive. Like I said, they've only had it a couple of weeks, and we got an email from them, which is lightning speed for them. And they did give us suggestions on who to use, and actually had quoted out 3 different quotes for it. It was below the threshold where I could go ahead and approve it, and I approved it this afternoon to move forward.
Okay, very good. Yeah, if we could, Mr. Alexander, have this as an updated item, frankly, every meeting.
Every meeting.
These trails have got to get done. And that's that's not a dig at staff and all the hard work that you guys have done. I know it's complicated and it takes a lot of different helping hands, but, the residents, much like road maintenance, are asking me rather frequently about trails.
Yes, sir.
I received an email 2 weeks ago, a fairly aggressive one about Hubbard Drive, and where that trail is and what's going on. And so, I think it's important that the residents that are online listening, and the residents that will listen to this recording, and the residents that may show up at a later date, just know how important these two trails are to us as elected officials, but also how important it is to staff. If we can have a regular cadence, I think it's a pretty big deal. This is nothing new. You guys have heard me say this.
Yes, sir.
On a number of occasions. So thank you for taking your time to go through that. Are there any other questions, council, on this item? Very well. We can now move into our Candlelight Park, our fire flow.
Yep, so Candlelight Fire Flow, as you know, is awarded to Hayes Construction. This project, they have not been given a notice to proceed as of yet. And we have asked them to revise their scope of schedule to stay away from Terry Lane until we get that completed. So I'll be honest with you, Mayor and Council, we're not on fire to get them going until we're off of Terry.
Yeah, understood and agreed. Is there not an interior phase?
That's what we've asked them to put together. Their original construction schedule had them in fairly high conflict with the Terry Lane construction that they were proposing. So
Okay,
we asked
right,
them-
because they're going to work their way naturally, Terry Lane.
Yeah, they were wanting to come down through there with trucks
But if we can
and
just come
supplies.
backwards.
It was problematic.
Okay, and then also it was discussed in one of the last meetings about the fire flow in general, and seeing some construction costs that are lower, and looking for opportunities to maybe begin some of the engineering
Yes.
design work for the other neighborhoods or streets, right?
Yep. We're going to bring that item to you in the next meeting, Mayor.
Okay, great. And great work. I mean, just as a reminder for those listening and for this council, I'm sure many of you may remember, may not, but, this was an item that when I first took office, that there was not a plan. It was thought to be done in 10 years, maybe-ish, somewhere in there. It was not itemized out. They had luckily identified the areas that needed to be remediated, but not necessarily a plan to attack it. And I think you guys have done a great job attacking it. We got to get going on the rest of this and make sure that we stay close to what we promised the citizens of 5 years.
Absolutely.
And so I look forward to seeing this fire flow come into fruition for all these neighbors. All right, very good. Are there any questions, council, for Candlelight? All right, moving into Public Works Facility.
All right.
We might just want to skip this one.
We might, no.
No, we're good. It's
No,
good.
let's talk about it. So this is how the building currently looks as of yesterday morning. They have put the roof on, they have, someone done, the interior insulation on the roof of the bay. There's a partial roof on the bottom office portion that has been completed along with some insulation. They are leaving somewhat of a gap, in that roof on this end and that end of the building here on purpose, because we got to pour concrete mezzanine in there that we're putting up for storage over the top of that bay area. You can't see in these photos, and it was too dark when I was trying to go in there for my phone to do anything productive, really. You couldn't tell what was going on. But all the interior offices have the metal framing up. You can actually go in there and walk down through there and see where they're at and things like that. They have beginning ordering the brick and things like that nature. We've identified the flooring, we've identified the cabinets, we've done all those things. But that's where it sits today, and we're still hoping for May. May or June?
Late May
Late
is
May.
what they're telling us now. On their schedule, they leave June 3rd as the date, but they've emailed and said, emailed us and told us they thought they'll get it done before May 26th.
They do have a new on-site project manager, so that's
They
exciting.
do.
Yeah, that's great. I had a great conversation with him. They're trying to get this thing on track, so looking forward to it. All right, very good. Are there any questions for Public Works Building?
And if anybody wants a tour out there, let us know. I mean, it's an interesting facility. It's going to be really nice for our
Yeah.
public works staff and crews. And
Agreed.
it's coming along. All that, Brian might have said it, but all that siding material you see there will be covered with brick when it's all said and done. And then the bays will have the kind of a stone gray siding on it.
Yeah, that's an important point. You go out there and you see that galvanized, that is areas that is be covered with brick, so it's not powder coated. That is not the color of the R panels that you would see that are exposed.
That's right.
Those are just the panels that are already have a brick facade.
Chief Siri has stated that he plans to have his DPS station built before you build your Public Works Building, so.
I can
You guys want to
confirm
rock, paper,
that.
scissors and have a wager?
I can confirm that, Mayor, he has.
You know,
Leave it to the chief to make it a competition. Love it. All right, very well. Moving into our street maintenance program to
All
round
right,
out.
this is our street maintenance repair status. These are, and I wish it was bigger. I apologize for that. These are all the streets we've repaired to date as we've been working through the street repair project in late last year and early this year. I did put a picture up there of something that really didn't get shown in our street repair. We also have been doing some striping and things like that. This is by Linda Lyon over there. We restriped that road back behind it. Right there, and if we move forward, I can show you another picture. Oh, well, it's not on this one, it's on the next one. This is the street repair status report. This is as of last week, so it's actually the number's a little bit up with what's scheduled to start, what was already in progress, and things of that nature. I think you've probably have seen some of this on social media. It goes out every week or every day on occasion. I think it's every day. We don't have currently anything out to quote, and that will be because we're looking at roads for Willow Springs, and I got some lifting I need to do on some other things that we have not moved forward with yet. These are also some striping I want to demonstrate. We did we striped all the speed bumps along Country Club. They were very faded. We put the reflectors back down, enhanced those a little bit, and there's some additional striping of some crosswalks over near Linden Line as well. This is, again, the budget. Everything that's encumbered, we're left right now with $126,854. And these numbers come, from my understanding, straight from Jay Ayers himself. So this is the real deal. It's not Brian standing up here saying, I think we have about 120 grand left. So that's what we've got to work with for the remainder of this year.
Very good. I know at one time, there were discussions about looking at our sidewalks on the main thoroughfares. There's a lot of uneven, basically the sidewalk has fallen and the driveways are higher. Have we looked at doing some polyfoam to raise that? That's a fairly inexpensive item. But as people are going to hopefully be walking and biking to our new town center park, have we looked at that? I don't think that there were many of them.
We haven't, but we certainly can. I mean, that.
We did look at getting this.
So, yes, we did look at an assessment for doing kind of a PCI on our sidewalks. It came in at literally 4 times the amount of money we paid for our street assessment, or 3 times. I think it was $71,000. Only paid $21,000 for the streets, every street in town to be done. So we kind of I recoiled at that number.
Well, I'll save you the $71,000 and I'll tell you where my bike broke down. And
I can just go out there and mark it with chalk.
All right. I don't think you need a full
We can
PCI.
I don't think you need a full PCI. I just think
that we need to think about the main thoroughfares, right, Ridge and 549.
Sure.
And look at the, where you have gapping. It's not gonna cost you much to put some poly in there and make sure that kids can actually ride their bikes. And that is a real story.
Okay.
I actually said, I'm gonna get on a bike, and for those of you at home, don't start laughing. I get on a bike, it's an e-bike, so don't get crazy. And, I'm out literally 5 minutes and already popped a tire.
Okay.
That's That's how big some of these
Okay.
gaps are, but there's not many of them,
Okay.
right? So, you know, you might be talking about less than 10, 20 different.
Not a problem.
different
Understood.
sections, so, okay.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
We're getting close to doing another citywide PCI.
I'm going to
talking
recommend
about
we
it?
do another one, yes, sir.
Can we have the sidewalks done at that same time? Or
So
is that two
that's the
different groups?
discussion we had. The current PCI was done through a company called Nexco, and they currently don't do sidewalks. But there are other companies we can look at, and we would explore those options. Probably not the one that gave us the $71,000.
Probably not, yeah.
No. Okay, very good. Sorry, I didn't mean to get
No
too
worries.
distracted with sidewalk, but
I'll
as
let
we
you
talk
keep-
about trails and interconnectivity, minimal investment to polyfoam jack, you know, less than 20 intersections off driveways, so just an
Yep, we can do that.
idea as we look at that. Okay, very well. Are there any questions, council? That was a lot to cover. Thank you, Mr. Creed.
Yeah, I've got a question. So we talked a couple of different meetings about finding some extra funding to continue this road repair project, and you had said to me that, you know, maybe you don't want to encumber that money, freeing it up for, you know, capital improvement project of some sort. Has that been ferreted out anymore? Do we know
Yeah,
if we could extend the repair plan just a little bit longer this year?
So, there's no particular line item in the budget that we look to say, okay, there's some savings here that we've identified that could be used towards street maintenance. And so at that point, you turn to existing fund balances, and do we want to start dipping into existing fund balances? And council, we'll take the direction of council, whatever you guys would like to do on it. My recommendation is we're about to get into the budget process. You know, we're about to start seeing a more complete picture of future CIP. And we've talked a lot about different projects over the last several meetings that have come up, Larry Drive, Key Drive. I mean, there's a host of them. And we don't have probable cost estimates on those. And so it might be worthwhile to kind of get an inventory of what that list looks like before we start dipping into and utilizing fund balance toward extending a street maintenance program, which, by the way, that we want to program into our annual budget, you know, close to $1 million a year anyhow, right? And so we want to keep that sustained as well. And so there may be some use of excess fund balance going forward to sustain that program for a period of time as our revenue stream grows to help us build that as an operating maintenance program that we don't have to fund through fund balances.
Yeah, it seems that the PCI, when it gets done, will tell us a lot more about how much we need in that annually.
Right.
We burned through 2 million in less than a year, so what's left, right?
Right.
You might have an idea, but it's better to.
And too, Councilman Obi, to your point, right? As we talked about other agenda items, we just got a recommendation from the finance board to actually take your excess funds from your general fund and apply that instead of going into CO, right? So that's why, again, having that joint session is super important, and probably, you know, and this is just my vantage point, you know, I think we need to look at the 126,000 and assume that that's the excess funds for now, right? You know, there's 7 of us, so we can debate that, but I think that seems to be the only line item currently that is identified as excess funds, because everybody seems to want to encumber the 3 million, the 2 to 3 million that's sitting out there.
Yeah, I just don't like that number.
Sure, sure. Nor does the finance board. They don't like your 40 million, right? So, you know, it's a hard thing as we juggle course correcting 10 years of you know, lack of having some of those strategies. And two, I think Mr. Alexander's being somewhat modest. I mean, when we talk about CIP, I mean, none of you walked into a true 10-year CIP plan. Right. You know, so capital improvement plan it's there, but it's not really there, right? So I think, again, he's being modest and saying, hey, look, I serve with pleasure at the council. I love it, but I think he, you know, if he were to tell you straight out, we really need a strong CIP plan and really look at this for a 10-year. And we really need to plan strategically to make sure that we don't put ourselves in a hardship. And you know, as we look at this, we're saying, hey, we're 58%, and really we only need to, encumber 35%. And, you know, Jim Spotis sits there and says, hey, look, you got, or Mr. Ayers says, hey, you got 6 months of reserve. I mean, you know, in the private sector, I'd say, that's probably not enough, right? So, again, I mean, we're all gonna have different viewpoints, but that's why I say I think the 126 is that line item for today.
Yeah. Well, I think we certainly don't want to go off into the wilderness. I mean, we need the knowledge of some of those reports so we can make good judgment calls.
And that's forthcoming as we get into the budget process and are able to show you not just the 10-year CIP, but a financial plan of how it's going to work, or how we think it's going to work. You know, I mean, we're going to be faced with the reality is it's going to be a challenging budget process. We've got tax rate pressures on us. You know, we got, I don't want to get too far in the weeds, but we got staffing issues we've got to address. You know, we've got 2 buildings, public safety, we've got to staff up. We've got maintenance costs coming on board with public works as well as public safety. But there's just a lot to think about. The whole park we've got to maintain. And so there's going to be a lot of demand for resources. And that's why I'm uber cautious about just dipping in and going another $500,000 on the street maintenance program. I love the idea. I love the momentum we've got and the projects we've got going on. It's exciting to see the projects happen, but we've got a hard budget in front of us coming up, and I think we're going to be needing to use those resources as best we can to get areas covered that we're going to be facing.
Yeah, and to that point, just throw another number out. I mean, there's speculation in running numbers on Parks and Rec that we're talking about a maintenance fee that's going to be in excess of $300,000 annualized, right? And so, and that's starting now in the middle of your budget cycle.
Yeah.
Or in the back end of your budget cycle, right? So.
Right, and so you know, you want to end up with a structurally balanced budget, meaning you want to be able to cover your current operating expenses with your current operating revenues, right? You don't want to have to use fund balances to cover operating expenses. But right now, you know, we may be faced with a situation where our annual street maintenance program is going to have to be partially funded through excess fund balances that we've got in order to make it work, because we don't have enough operating revenues coming in to build $1 million annual street maintenance program. And so it may take a few years to get the revenues to a point to where it can fund the street maintenance program through a operating revenue account.
And as you draw down your fund balances, also keep in mind it does affect your bond ratings.
Yeah. It'll be a balancing act. I mean,
and that's, you know, and Mr. Sabonis didn't really explain, you know, why we're not a AAA plus rated, right? But I would assume that even though he says there's nothing you could have done, I mean, well, you know, those are factors, right? We have $30 million CO for the 2 buildings and a park and a public works building, right? Yeah. And then we're also using fund balance and funding other projects. So those things do get calculated into your bond rating. So these are, you know, that's the balancing act.
Yeah. When we met with S&P, Standard & Poor's on the rating, they're very interested in our one-time drawdown of reserves.
Yeah.
Very focused in on that, asked me if it was going to continue to occur. And of course, we, you know, as a policy, we want our money going to work for our people, right? And we want our community to experience, you know, productive uses of that money. And so if there's excess reserves that we can draw down to one-time projects, we want to do that. And so it's just as a matter of course that we do that. S&P, I would say, would prefer you just leave that in there, you know, because it buoys your credit worthiness, right? That you got more money to pay your debt service if something happens. Sure. So I think they like to see that. But they were very interested in those one-time drawdowns and how often we would continue, or how, if those would recur going forward, which naturally we think they will. If we have excess and we need to put that money to use, as opposed to just keeping it in a bank account for a rainy day.
All right, very good. Any other questions? I didn't mean for us to get down in the weeds, but I thought it was a great explanation, great dialogue. As we explore a lot of different options. Let's move into, thank you, Mr. Creed, very thorough, appreciate it. Move into 5.E. Presentation of the 2025 DPS Annual Report, receipt of Annual Racial Profiling Report. Mr. Siri, Chief.
Do we need action on that item, Mayor?
There is not an action item.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm excited tonight to present to you the first ever annual report for the Department of Public Safety, working with Mr. Alexander. We're always seeking ways to improve what we do in our organization. And annual report is one of those. I think it offers a layer of transparency to see what we do throughout the year, and also gives you as a council just an overview of what we do to help make better informed decisions when it comes to budget related to public safety. One thing I want to cover on first, we've always had a mission statement, vision, organizational values. We decided that it was pretty lengthy and long, and so over the past year, we've revised that to get more buy-in to the officers and help them understand what our mission really is, and reduce that so that it's not a full page of a mission statement to understand. So this is our new mission. We geared everything around Heath. Heath is obviously very important to all of us. Our mission is to serve with honor, pursue excellence, uphold accountability, lead through transparency, and act with heart to build a safer and more united Heath. Again, playing off Heath, our organizational values: honor, excellence, accountability, transparency, and heart. And then our vision is to be recognized as a leader in public safety by exemplifying professionalism, integrity, and an unwavering commitment to the well-being of Heath. Moving into our organizational structure, in the operations division, we currently have 24 public safety officers, 8 public safety officers assigned to each shift. 2 of those are in training currently. Those are the 2 of the 3 positions that you approved in this fiscal year currently. We're hoping to have them completed with their training sometime in August. Looking at the administration division, we have 15 members within administration. That's the command staff. That's myself and the 2 captains, 1 fire marshal, 7 school resource officers, 2 criminal investigators, and 2 civilian staff, with 1 of those being part-time. Talk about some of our accomplishments. For 2025, the drone program continues to be highly successful for us, a very valuable tool. We have 4 FAA certified pilots. And it's been deployed to a wide range of incidents throughout the year, primarily for criminal matters is what it's primarily been used for. It's really improved our ability to respond effectively to critical calls, so we thank y'all for that. City also installed 2 outdoor warning sirens. With those, we're a premier outdoor lifestyle community, and we developed a formal policy around North Central Texas Council of Governments activation standards. And we'll be coming to you at budget time as well for an additional sirens to hopefully get coverage throughout the entire city. The department, again, we promoted 4 lieutenants, which resulted in the promotion of 4 sergeants. Very, very beneficial to our department. We now ensure that there's a supervisor on patrol at all times, which is very important. And then we also ensure that we have a supervisor on the fire side at all times, just as long as they're not off. One of them, sometimes we still have to back down to 1, but we try to make sure that they're both there at all times. The department successfully applied for and received more than $35,000 in grants and donations this year. These funds supported several key initiatives, which includes the acquisition of a speed trailer, some of our LPR cameras, some gym equipment, and additional training opportunities for our personnel. Within the department, the officers continue to demonstrate a strong commitment to professional development and excellence. Throughout the year, officers earned advanced certifications, and several members obtained advanced degrees, including master's degrees. Just a fact we'll share about the department that I'm really proud of. Currently, approximately 54% of our department hold college degrees, compared to less than 10% in years past. Some of the certifications, too, that they obtained over the year are highly specialized and only held by a limited number of professionals nationwide. ALPR program has been integrated throughout the city. It's almost complete. We're just waiting on a couple of tech stop permits to complete that system. Again, very beneficial tool for us. Been very successful with apprehending criminals and solving some cases. And just to let you know, this system, we did develop a policy around that. It's operated under a strict policy to ensure proper and responsible usage. We also continue to excel in recruitment and retention. Morale is high within our department. Officers are highly motivated. We consistently attract highly qualified candidates, and we currently have a waiting list for positions as they open up. As some of you may know, in public safety around North Texas, even across the country right now, it's very hard to attract candidates, and for us to have a waiting list, makes us very proud. Another thing with retention, we've only lost one officer in the last 5 years, which is another rare achievement within the department. Moving on to the administration. We are an accredited agency through the Texas Police Chiefs Association. Again, very proud of that. We're the 191st agency in Texas to earn that distinction. We represent the top 10% in Texas law enforcement, working the gold standard for law enforcement in Texas. We're in an audit year right now, so we're reviewing all of our policies. We'll have an inspection next year. Their assessors will come in, and hopefully we'll still remain accredited status. Training this year, we conducted 3,623 hours of law enforcement training across the department. Our crime reporting is all current and validated by our records department, as well as our fire reporting through INFRS. And then our Texas Commission on Fire Protection training, we completed 3,203 hours of training related to fire suppression this year, or in 2025. Moving into the arrests made by the department, they're down 3%, just over 3% this year. We had 214 total in 2024, 206 total for 2025. Drug arrests, and the top drug arrests that the officers are making are possession of a controlled substance. And then non-drug arrests, the top arrest they're making is all assaults. We have 35 for possession of controlled substance and 48 assaults. Total of 206 arrests for the year. Looking at our incident analysis, our top 5 calls are investigations, suspicious activity, alarm residential ordinance violation, and assist motorist. One thing I want to point out, and I'm proud of our citizens, suspicious activity is at the top. Our citizens are engaged, they're watching, that's exactly what we want, and they don't hesitate to call us. So we appreciate that very much because it does help. Officer-initiated calls. The officers, total of 7,559 entries for the year, self-initiated. That's extra patrols, park, walk, and talks, traffic enforcement, and traffic stops. Our average response time is 7 minutes and 30 seconds. That is not our priority response time. It's much lower than that, but that's just the general average on all the calls. We're up just under 1% for dispatch calls for service, so we had 3,927 calls dispatch for service in 2025, compared to 3,893 in 2024. One thing that we're keeping an eye on is mental health related calls. We've seen a 5-year growth of 83%. We've seen some other calls increasing too. 83%, 1-year growth of 24%. You can see in 21 we had 108 calls, in 25 we had 198 calls. Obviously, it's something we want to keep aware of, but it's also a heavy demand on the officers when we do have to take action and we do have to take some kind of intervention for us to transport those. It takes officers off the street, they're gone, they have to drive to Dallas, we don't have a facility in the area, and then they're waiting in line with other officers that may be there. So that's just something we're keeping track of right now. Moving into our NIBRS reported.
Chief, real quick
Yes,
on
sir.
that. Are we collaborating on that statistic? Are we collaborating? I know that you have regular meetings with other chiefs and with the sheriff's office. Are we talking about that?
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir. Mental health is always at the top of the list when we have chiefs meetings. It's always a concern with us, especially just generally in handling those, if we're handling properly. We've had meetings with the JP's office about them. Sometimes they're involved in some of those issues. So yes, sir, absolutely.
Okay. And is there any talks at the county level on looking regionally outside of Dallas County for solutions?
Not that I'm aware of. No, sir, not at the county level. As far as like, are solutions as far as treatment facilities? No, sir, not No, we're working on our own facilities. There's departments that have with the county, or Rockwell Police Department that allow us to have mental health units and allow us to utilize those officers. And they're very beneficial helping with that, so.
Very good.
Internally, we are. Externally, I don't know about any facilities in the near future.
All right, thank you.
And I was gonna share something about that too. Out of the 198 calls that we had, 24 were transported. So just keeping them up. Moving into our crime statistics, this is what really generally is reported in how cities determine the safety of the community. So in 2024, we had 55 Group A offenses, and in 2025, we had 48 Group A offenses, so that's a 12%, just over a 12% reduction in those. And then in 2024, we had 163 Group B offenses, and compared to 2025, we had 142 offenses, so we had an overall reduction of 13% in crime throughout the city. Just to explain, Group A offenses are more serious, so aggravated assault, robberies, things of that nature, and then your Group B are intoxication, drug, narcotics, and all general trespassing, things of that nature. Looking at Criminal Investigations Division, they were assigned 130 cases in 2025. 65 of those were cleared, and 25 of those resulted in arrests. They handled 51 CPS referrals, and they currently monitor 3 registered sex offenders within the community. Moving to our fire and EMS and fire marshal related incidents. In 2024, we had 303 fire calls for service. That's up 21%. In 2025, we had 369. Looking at EMS calls for service, we had 321 in 2024. That went down 10% at 287. Total call volume increase with fire and EMS of just over 5%. And then have some data in there about the fire marshal. And I want to say too, the book has a lot more information and detail that you're able to review in there. So year-end breakdown analysis. This is required by our accreditation to do analysis on certain things. So I just want to go through with those with y'all as well. In 2025, we had 2 vehicle pursuits. One of those was initiated for a criminal offense, and the other was initiated for a traffic violation. In those incidents, we had 1 tire deflation device used to stop that. In both cases, the suspects were apprehended. And in one case, an accident resulted to the suspect vehicle only. In 2025, looking at our fleet accidents, we had 1 accident for improper backing, a very minor accident. It's called a scratched on the car. It was not reported to insurance, so anything like that. So it's a very, very minor accident. Looking at our use of force, this one, looking at it takes a little bit of explanation to it, but there were 2 use of force incidents. But throughout those 2, the officers utilized 7 force options. So in both of those cases, they used physical control. In both those cases, they used verbal direction. That counts as a force option as well. In one case, they pointed their taser. And in both other cases, they used soft weaponless control. So basically moving them down, things of that nature. Our personal injury analysis, for 2025, we had 1 officer hit an object while walking. We had a slip accident. We had a chasing a fleeing subject accident, and we had one fight with a subject, injury, and then 2 that were virus and sicknesses. Now, all those didn't require treatment. Just anytime there's a scratch or anything like that, the supervisor is required to fill out a first report of injury. The officer may not even want any kind of thing, but it's just a documentation for us. Okay, moving into the racial profiling report. I believe y'all are familiar with this report. Just so at the end of this, if you so choose, I would ask that we just make a motion to accept that racial profiling report. So for the total traffic stops, we had 4,405 for the year. 51% of those were white, 22% were Hispanic, 23% were black, 1.6% were Asian or Pacific Islander, and less than 1% were Alaskan, Native American, or Indian. Out of those, 49 of those stops were for a violation of law. 217 were for pre-existing knowledge. 1,628 were for moving traffic violations. 2,511 for vehicle traffic violations. And out of those stops, 192 resulted in a search of the vehicle or their person. Okay, moving in our vehicle accidents for the year. We had, in 2024, we had 44 major accidents. We did go up a little bit, and I'll talk about that here in just a second, for major accidents in 2025 at 60. In 2024, we had 265 minor accidents, but we saw a significant reduction in the minor accidents to 174, so a total of 24.3% reduction in traffic accidents year over year. When we look at major accidents too, those are coded generally by the dispatcher. So when I'm looking at those and I do see an increase, what I'm really looking at is the fire response. So if the dispatchers are called, how they code it, they may get information that says, hey, the airbags are deployed, and they're already going to assume there's an injury, so sometimes they'll code that as a major accident right away. But out of those 60, we had 33 that included fire response. So just over half of those, and then 2 motor vehicle involving pedestrians. So the rest of them, and generally that tells me that the other half were not actually major accidents because it didn't require a fire response. And then training, this is something we've really focused on the last year, and we're going to continue to focus on, also finding that balance between the police and fire training. As I said, 3,623 training for police, 3,203 for fire, 638 for EMT across the department for a total of 7,464 training hours. Okay, moving into one of my most favorite things is the community engagement. We talked a little bit about tug of war. I'm the champion from last year. I'm going to keep that title this year. So you can see me up there in the top picture. It's kind of hard to see. But myself and the girls, we won.
It looks like you have spikes on your boots.
Yeah. So just some of the things that we do throughout the year, National Night Out, Toys for Tot, Heart of Heath, SRO for the day, annual Christmas card, another one of my favorites that we did about 5 years ago. We have a competition at our elementary schools. It rotates around each elementary school every year. They get to design the front and back of our Christmas card, and we send that out to all the agencies and all of our staff and council members, so we hope that you are getting those. Then we have several public education. You see down the bottom left some disaster relief response. We provided a Kerrville, Rockwell Heath High School homecoming parade, NCL safety education, and various other city and Heath DPS sponsored events. And I do want to go back to one that I didn't highlight a picture, and I think they should be highlighted of some of my staff. As you can see in this picture in our accomplishments, Officer Mosley, very proud of him. He received his master's degree this year. And then bottom picture is Sergeant Griffith. He was recognized at the Mothers Against Drunk Driving Luncheon Award for his pursuit of intoxicated individuals on our roadways. And he's also a drug recognition expert, one of the rarest and hardest to obtain certifications in law enforcement. And it's hard to maintain, and he does an excellent job at that. So I just wanted to highlight them. I left them out. I'm sorry about that. So that concludes my presentation. Glad to answer any questions, and I really appreciate all the support we've had and the hard work that y'all put into public safety.
Very good. Thank you, Chief, for
Yes,
all
sir.
that you do. Your captains, sergeants, you guys are a great team.
Thank you.
And I enjoy spending time with you guys, and I appreciate all the transparency that you allow, inviting me to, run around with fake tasers, allowing me to climb on the top of the ladder trucks, and, as of late, even saying, hey, Mayor, come over, we're going through this house and we're doing training. I didn't really want to be the suspect, so I said, no, thank you. But council, if you guys ever want to partake, I tell you what, you guys are a cut above, and I thank you guys for all that you do. The one question that I do have, and I didn't see it in this packet, you guys have brought back the volunteers on watch.
Yes, sir.
Maybe
I'm-
you
I
can
just-
speak to that.
Yeah, just that popped in my head after I concluded, so I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you very much. We have currently Citizens on Patrol, and we will be inviting DPS Citizens Academy they're in right now. It's been a very good program. They're very
How many,
engaged.
how many do you have?
We had 14 sign up. We had a total of 11 that are in the
11,
class.
11 residents that signed up. This is an old program that you guys brought back.
Yes, sir. It's very fun, too.
When the chief told me that we had 11 people going through training, first off, I wanted to know, is it one of my neighbors? But I was very proud to know that you guys started this back and had such a great response, so.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we are. And again, I think they've been really engaged. I think they've really enjoyed it. I hope they will share it with others, and maybe they'll have an opportunity to meet some of y'all at their graduation.
Yes.
But they've got to do everything from actually going to the shooting range, shoot guns, shoot our tasers, tours of our facilities, all kinds of things. It's a really good program. It's a really good education for them too, because there's a lot of stuff that they don't really know what we do sometimes. So.
Well, let us know about the graduation. I can speak for this council. That's exciting.
It is.
Great job.
What do they do once they graduate? What will be their role?
We've actually extended it. We thought it was going to be a 6-week program. We brought it back, and so we talked to them, and they've been enjoying it, so we decided to extend it another couple of weeks. So they'll be graduating in about 3 weeks from now. But every week is a topic. So this week, this Thursday night, they'll be doing fire and EMS. So they'll get to, they're going to do a CPR class. They're going to put on some of the fire gear, see all the fire tools, operate like jaws of life, things of those nature. Yep. Yeah, but they
So
did
is it just for fun? We're not actually having them help?
No, it is, at this point, it's just for fun,
Okay.
and so, it's a prerequisite into our Citizen on Patrol.
Okay.
They complete this, then we will offer them Citizen on Patrol, and then they have to go through another program for Citizens on Patrol.
Which is, again, this is an old program that they're revitalizing.
Great.
It's pretty exciting.
Fun.
So,
It
watch out for your neighbors if they
I
sign.
like it.
If they sign up and start running around with tasers, I got problems. No, it's very exciting, all joking aside.
It is.
Very, very proud of you guys. You guys, again, I can't stress enough, you guys are a cut above being seventh safest city in the state of Texas. Looking forward to being number one.
We are too.
Appreciate everything that you guys are doing.
Absolutely.
Council, any questions, further comments?
I was gonna ask one question. Chief, on the organizational chart, I counted 39, and it states that there's 37.
That's my civilian staff.
Oh, that's okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, that's awesome, the retention rate, and there's a lot of excitement. I can't wait for Thursday in the ceremony for Station 31. So I know you're busy. You're on fire in a good way.
Yes, sir, we are. Thank you.
I just got one comment, that if you have young children or grandchildren, that chief will give them a private tour, and will let them sit in the fire truck.
Anytime.
And get to turn the siren on and lights.
That's right. Actually, before I came over here, they were doing a tour, citizens stopped by. That's a constant thing. We all love
It's really a
that.
good, great program. He gives them coloring books and all. I mean,
Yep.
it's super what he does.
We love it.
Super job.
I agree. And just to go a step above too, I was at Lake Point Church, because that's our home church.
Yes, sir.
And watching your staff that actually work on the weekends up there.
Yes, sir.
And seeing how many of them actually know the kids, and the kids run up to them and know who they are, I can tell you, I take a lot of pride.
Makes me very proud.
I take a lot of pride in saying, hey, that's a Heath officer.
Yes, sir.
Right? So your guys are amazing, so.
Thank
anyways.
you.
Yeah, great point. Thank you. At this time, the chair will open the floor to entertain a motion on the racial profiling report.
I move to accept the DPS annual report and racial profiling report as presented.
Very well. We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Thorogood. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Councilman Omby. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, council. What a great meeting. Thank you to the staff. We appreciate all your hard work. Thanks, council. At this time, at 9:03, this meeting is adjourned.
If you guys want to see DPS in action, I think they're in action on